On February 14, 2026, a report hit ScienceDaily that changed everything we thought we knew about supercomputing. It wasn't about more teraflops or bigger GPUs. It was about a machine that finally thinks like you do. For decades, we've been trapped in the von Neumann bottleneck, moving data back and forth between processors and memory. It's slow, it's hot, and it's reaching its physical limit. But a new contender has entered the ring. Neuromorphic chips don't just run code, they mimic the biological structure of the human brain. We are talking about silicon neurons and synapses that only fire when they need to, and the efficiency gains are genuinely staggering. To understand why this is a massive shift, we have to look at how a standard GPU works. Think of a GPU like a massive factory of thousands of workers doing the exact same task in perfect sync. It's powerful, but it's incredibly rigid. Neuromorphic systems, like Intel's Loihi or IBM's North Pole, work differently. They use spiking neural networks, or SNNs. Instead of a constant stream of data, they communicate using discrete spikes of electricity, just like your brain's neurons. This means if nothing is happening in a specific part of the simulation, those neurons stay silent. They consume almost zero power until a spike arrives. It's asynchronous, event-driven, and it's the key to the next era of AI.
The memory wall is the biggest problem in modern AI. In a standard H100 GPU, the processor spends most of its time waiting for data to arrive from memory. It's like a world-class chef waiting for a delivery truck to bring the ingredients. Neuromorphic architecture solves this by co-locating memory and computation. Every neuron on the chip has its own local memory. There is no waiting. There is no bottleneck. The chef is already standing in a fully stocked kitchen. This isn't just a marginal improvement. We are seeing architectural shifts that allow these chips to process information with a fraction of the transistors used in traditional hardware. But how does this translate to real-world math?
The secret sauce is sparsity. In a typical deep learning model, every weight is calculated every time. It's incredibly wasteful. In a neuromorphic system, only the active pathways light up. It's the difference between leaving every light in your house on and only turning on the one in the room you're in. This event-based processing is what makes these chips so fast for specific tasks. They don't wait for a clock cycle to finish. They react the moment the data changes. This is why researchers are so excited about the latest physics simulations. But to really see the power of this architecture, we need to look at the math that runs our world. And that brings us to the breakthrough that happened in February 2026.
The ScienceDaily report detailed a massive win for neuromorphic chips in the world of partial differential equations, or PDEs. These are the equations that describe how fluids flow, how heat spreads, and how galaxies form. Traditionally, solving these requires massive GPU clusters and weeks of compute time. But the neuromorphic approach solved them in a fraction of the time, using less power than a light bulb. It's a complete paradigm shift. How did they do it? By mapping the physics directly onto the hardware. But to understand that, we need to dive into the math itself. And trust me, this is where it gets really clever. The February 2026 report wasn't just a minor update. Researchers successfully used a neuromorphic supercomputer to solve complex partial differential equations for physics simulations at a scale we've never seen before. PDEs are the boss fight of mathematics. They describe continuous change, whether it's the airflow over a hypersonic wing or the way a virus spreads through a city. PDEs are the engine under the hood of reality. The problem is that traditional computers are discrete. They have to break these continuous equations into billions of tiny little boxes, and that requires a massive amount of communication between processors. GPUs handle this by doing millions of calculations at once, but they still struggle with the communication overhead. Every time one part of the simulation changes, it has to tell all the other parts. This creates a massive traffic jam. The 2026 breakthrough changed the game by treating the chip itself as a physical system. Instead of calculating the math, they programmed the silicon neurons to behave like the physical particles they were simulating. Because the chip is naturally asynchronous and interconnected, the communication happens at the speed of electricity across the synapse. No traffic jams, no waiting. Just pure, real-time physics. This isn't just about speed. It's about fidelity. In the ScienceDaily report, the neuromorphic system was able to simulate turbulence, one of the hardest problems in physics, with a level of detail that would normally require a warehouse full of servers. And it did it while consuming less than 1% of the energy of a traditional GPU cluster. We are moving from brute force computing to elegant computing. It's like switching from a steam engine to a warp drive. But why does this matter to you? Because these simulations are the key to solving the biggest challenges of our time, from the climate to the very medicines we take.
Skeptics argue that neuromorphic chips are too specialized. They're great at SNNs and PDEs, but they can't run your Excel spreadsheet or render a 3D game like a GPU can. And they're right, for now. The software ecosystem is also a major hurdle. We've had 40 years to perfect C++ and Python for traditional chips. Programming for a brain-like architecture requires a completely different mindset. It's like learning to think in a new dimension. However, the February breakthrough showed that for the most important scientific tasks, the effort is worth it. We are seeing the birth of physics AI, models that actually understand the laws of the universe.
Imagine a weather model that doesn't just predict the rain, but understands the fluid dynamics of every cloud in real time. Or a drug discovery simulation that can model how a molecule folds in seconds instead of months. This is the promise of the PDE breakthrough. It's a bridge between the digital world and the physical world. But as we unlock this power, we have to talk about where it's going next. And that's where things get complicated, because the same technology that can save the planet can also be used for something much more intense. We need to talk about green AI and the dual-use dilemma. We are currently in an AI energy crisis. Training a single large language model can consume as much electricity as hundreds of homes use in a year. It's simply not sustainable. But neuromorphic computing offers a green AI exit ramp. By using event-driven processing, these chips can reduce the carbon footprint of AI by orders of magnitude. We are talking about moving from kilowatts to milliwatts. This is how we get AI into our pockets without draining the battery in 5 minutes. For climate modeling, this is a game changer. We can run thousands of high-resolution scenarios to find the best way to capture carbon or manage water resources, all while using a fraction of the energy of a traditional data center. In the world of drug discovery, time is everything. Neuromorphic systems can simulate the way new drugs interact with human cells with incredible precision. This could lead to a future where we design personalized medicine overnight. Because these chips excel at the complex physics of molecular bonding, they can screen millions of compounds in the time it takes a traditional supercomputer to do one. It's not just faster. It's a different kind of science. This is the fascinating side of the technology. It's the side that could solve cancer and stop climate change. But there is another side to the coin, one that has the world's militaries paying very close attention. The same PDE solving capabilities that model the climate are perfect for high-stakes military simulations. We are talking about modeling hypersonic fluid dynamics, the physics of missiles that travel at 5 times the speed of sound. Traditional computers struggle with the extreme turbulence of hypersonic flight. Neuromorphic chips, however, can simulate these environments in real time. This is what's known as dual-use technology, one tool with 2 very different purposes. There are concerns that this could lead to a new kind of arms race, one where the winner is whoever has the most efficient silicon brain. It's a strategic advantage that goes far beyond just faster processing. So, where does this leave us? We are standing at the edge of a new era. The GPU-driven AI boom of the 2020s was just the beginning. The next decade will be defined by systems that don't just calculate, but perceive and react. In my opinion, the shift to neuromorphic computing is inevitable. As we hit the physical limits of silicon and the energy limits of our grid, we have no choice but to look to the most efficient computer ever designed, the human brain. The February 2026 breakthrough was the proof of concept. It showed that brain-like hardware isn't just a gimmick. It's the key to unlocking the physics of the universe. And it's happening faster than anyone predicted. We are moving toward a world where intelligence isn't something that lives in a massive hot data center. It's something that lives in the devices around us, efficient, silent, and incredibly powerful. The question is no longer if neuromorphic chips will take over, but how we will choose to use them. Will we prioritize the green revolution or the next generation of defense? The architecture is ready. Now it's up to us. The silicon brain is here, and the way we simulate reality will never be the same. The future isn't just digital, it's neuromorphic.